Hello everybody, this is Dr. Schroeder with this week's video introduction to week number 5 of our course into Theoretical Foundations of Teaching. And congratulations, you made it to the halfway point as of today. I'm recording this on Monday of week 5. We're officially halfway through the course, and everything we do to here now is on the downhill slide. So we're halfway there. And this week, once again, lively week of discussion. The discussion questions this week focus primarily on assessment, the key concepts that we use when we're doing student assessment. And going along with that was the second part of the question about Socratic questioning and how would you assess a student's ability to use Socratic questioning in evaluation, which generated a pretty good discussion, I think. And the question came up about, well, why would it be important? Why would you want a student to understand this questioning technique if we're trying to assess them, unless that student is going to be using that assessment technique in some way? Why would we even really include it as something that we'd want to assess their ability to engage in? And the answer is that actually the Socratic method it's a method of reasoning, and it's a method of critical thinking. It's a method of working through problems. So the reason that we would ask a question or ask questions to a student and assess their ability for them to ask questions and engage in a Socratic method is because it helps to give us an understanding of what their level of insight and critical thinking in regards to a particular situation is. So that's why it came up that way. And again, it was very nice discussion specifically about Socratic questioning, but then really overall in general about the assessment process in general. Speaking from a very personal note, I can tell you that one of the toughest things in education is one of the hardest things to get good at is student assessment. Because assessment is, in many things that we do anyway, by its nature, it can be very subjective, particularly when we're talking about nursing assessment. And we have to be able to articulate why we feel that a student is or is not meeting objectives, sometimes on information that is inherently subjective, kind of that gut feeling. And you have to be able to explain that gut feeling in a way that you can quantify it, and that way be fair to the student so that you're not engaging in bias, but also then in a way that is supportive of the student as well. So it can be tricky. A little bit of conversation came up about the concept of bullying in nursing and the concept of lateral violence in education, which is there. There are some instructors out there that, their modeling of instructing is that the teacher should be somebody that you fear and you tremble in your boots when you come up and need to ask them a question. I think that we've probably all at one time or another run into an instructor like that. They're still out there. They're not very good instructors usually. They're on almost any metric. They're oftentimes destructive instructors, but they are out there. And there is, believe it or not, kind of a school of thought that sometimes having an instructor that does have an intimidating sense about them. Not a lot of evidence on this, but there are some models that say that that's not a bad model of education, that sometimes it's that fear that will motivate students. But that's a model that usually applies more to small children, where you have the teacher as an authority figure. In an adult learning concept, that idea doesn't really hold true too much anymore. But anyway, a very good discussion. Your teaching plans that were submitted, I should be reviewing those. I'm going to start looking at those today. I'm going to try to have most of them done. I'm going to try to have most of them done by midweek, but it may not be until this weekend before you actually see the result in yours. I'm probably going to have about half of them done before Wednesday, and then the other half are going to probably wait until this weekend. It just depends on how quickly I can get through those. Grading is also something that tends to take a lot of time, and it tends to be very time consuming. So, and especially any written form of assessment, it takes a while to get through those. For week number 5, we're going to be moving ahead towards the talking about evaluation of teaching. And so your discussion question this week is actually meant to be kind of a building block and to scaffold and help you with your week 6 evidence-based practice assignment. So you're going to find a piece of evidence to support a teaching intervention that you would use. Now, one thing to clarify, this is when we talk about evidence-based, we're not talking about evidence-based in nursing practice, really. We're talking more about evidence-based in education. For example, why would you use simulation, or why would you use whatever? Well, there's many different examples out there, but whatever your teaching example is going to be, you're going to have to select a particular modality to teach it, either lecture or simulation or case study or something along those lines, some mode like that. So you're going to be finding some evidence. What does the research evidence say about those teaching methodologies? And you'll find that there is actually quite a bit of evidence out there. There's a lot of evidence that is backing up a lot of what we do in nursing education. So that pretty much wraps up the week. It has been a great class so far. Everybody is doing wonderfully. I've enjoyed engaging in conversation with you. If you have any questions, if anything comes up that you want me to discuss or want me to address, go ahead and please post it in the Ask the Instructor discussion forum, and I will get to it. And have a great week, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the discussion forums.